Hello ladies and gentlemen YouTube, Cody here, back with a quick video. I want to talk about some things that have, I don't want to say been bothersome, but have been bothersome. For those of you guys who don't know, I have moved from Wisconsin to Illinois, where sports betting is completely legal and you can sports bet online. So, a couple of things I want to talk about with this, and then we'll get into the main topic of this. My sports knowledge used to be extremely well. Like, I used to be amazing. I used to know every little thing. Then I kind of lost my passion for watching sports. And since moving back to Illinois, where I can bet on games, where I have feelings, and I'm getting really good at it. Not just getting, I've always been pretty good at it. Even some of the underdogs winning some big things, big bets. I want to talk about what I've been seeing in the NBA. NFL is a whole different video, a whole other time. So I want to make it kind of, I don't want to say clear, but kind of where I'm coming from and what I've seen from the transition of the last few years to this year, and really what that means. And I want to talk about the refs, right? I also want to talk about the NBA in general. I'm not going to get into any in the comments. I will not answer anything about the Kyrie. I will not answer anything about this or that relating to it. I strictly today am going to talk about the refs. I am very disappointed. Yesterday, 11/11/2022, there was two games that I watched. One was the Bucks versus the Spurs, and the other one was Golden State versus, I don't remember who Golden State actually played. I'm having a brain fart. But first we're going to talk about the Bucks. Okay? Serge Ibaka started off getting basically a warning for a delay of game in the beginning. Doesn't really matter. That's not really my thing. I don't like delay of games for the most part. What I will say is what I had an issue with the Cavaliers. That's who they played. Sorry, Donovan Mitchell. I don't know why I kept thinking Donovan Mitchell, but it didn't correlate in my head, the Cavs. I want to talk about the first game being the Bucks and the Spurs. I had the Bucks winning it. I think everybody had the Bucks winning it. Little to find out that, I mean, I guess I didn't really fight. I knew that Giannis was going to be shit. Drew Holiday and Middleton were going to be set. Grayson Allen didn't play, probably because he's on the trade block and butthurt, something like that. Doesn't really matter. Serge Ibaka started off the game with basically trash. He bounced the ball back in, hit it to him, and got called for a delay of game. That was a turning point in my eyes, and it was first quarter. It was like 6 points or whatever. And it continued from there. There were a lot of calls. The traveling is getting out of control. Now, I'm going to start by saying that and I'm going to tilt my camera here, every single travel they're calling is a travel, right? By far and wide, in the rule book, it is a travel. However, right, we are clearly seeing more travel calls this year than we've ever seen. And that's because they're making it a point to make it a travel, right? I'm not sure I'm sold on that. Now, per the rule book, per the rules, it is a travel, call it, right? But it is getting to the point where you're getting 10, 15 travels per game. And I'm not sure if that's good enough, if that's good for the game of basketball. Let me explain. Yes, it is a rule, right? Yes, you cannot walk down the court with the ball like this is a football. You cannot do that. To be able to curve your hand like this, I don't know, right? It's a call, you have to call it. I get that. I'm not arguing the fact that it should be called. I'm saying, is it good for the game of basketball? And I'm not sure it is. And I'm going to explain why. You are not letting them play for how they've played for the last 20 years. And I understand things may need to change. I get that. I understand that. And I'm sure and I believe and I've heard there was emails, there was talks about, it was all talked about beforehand, prior to, and I'm sure this is something that's been pushed for. I just don't know if people understand what they were asking for before they got it. And I'm going to say that I don't know if it's good for the game of basketball to have so many stops. It is making basketball games longer. It is causing frustrations. It is causing defenses to play differently. And I don't know if that's the right move. Okay? I'm not sure. So that's what my question of the day is for the comments. Do you think this new travel movement that they are making is good for the game of basketball or bad for the game of basketball? That is the only complaint I have on the Bucks game. Now let's get to the Warriors and Cleveland game. First, I want to start off by saying that call on Draymond, if you didn't see it, go to YouTube, look it up. I don't know how to put it in here yet. I'm getting there, but I don't know how to do that. I got to look at what I'm legally allowed to do and copyrights and stuff like that. Pretty sure I'm not allowed to do that, so I got to figure out how all that works. But the ball hit his shoulder, and he tried to push it back. And he got called for a delay of game. Stephen Kerr got called for a technical that I didn't believe was a technical. There is a lot of things that are kind of piling up, and it was all against Golden State last night. And even the announcers were noticing it. We have to be better, right? So I guess my solution would be, I don't think we're given the appropriate challenge rules. I don't know if we're giving the coaches the best. I don't know if we're giving the coaches enough power to be able to overturn bad calls from the ref, right? And again, we have to be able to empower our refs. Because otherwise we're going to be challenging every single play, right? I get that. But it just seems like refs aren't what they used to be, and they're not what they could be. And it's becoming frustrating because in that game in Golden State, now, full disclosure, I had Golden State winning. As soon as they were no longer the favorites and they were considered the underdogs on the plus minus, I put money on Golden State. So I am a little biased. Now, Golden State did end up winning. I want to make it very clear. So this isn't me bitching, yelling, complaining, or anything like that when it comes to losing a bet or losing money. Now, I did lose money on the Bucks game. Those calls, some of the tic-tacky calls, were not going to change the game of the Bucks game. The Bucks played terrible. I am not a Bucks fan, even though I came from Wisconsin. It was just a great time for me to put some plus or minuses on there. So I'm okay with how the Bucks game was. I am not okay with Golden State, and that is the one I won. Steve Kerr got a technical. I think there was a lot of things leading up to bad calls, and I think the one that stands out the most to me is at the end of the game. At this point, the game wasn't over, but it was one possession between being over, right? Donovan Mitchell came all the way down, and Draymond Green just happened to be in the vicinity, and Donovan Mitchell's leg kind of twisted, and you can see it. You go on there. I don't even know if he's gonna. If there's anything injury, I didn't look it up past today. I went to work and I was pretty frustrated with some of the calls last night, and that's why I hopped on this video. I wanted to talk about what I saw. I am not okay with them not reviewing that call. That could have been a game-changing call, and in my opinion, sitting from the sideline, watching the game on several different angles, right? My iPad, the computer, and the TV. If you guys don't know, I normally keep my iPad right underneath this, and the TV right to the side is playing the game, and then sometimes I'll have different angles on here, NBA TV, Hulu, all of that kind of thing. And then I have different angles on my iPad using NBA TV. I am not okay with that call. And you guys shouldn't be either, right? Now, I understand Golden State still won and they pulled it off, but that is just single-handedly because Steph Curry can make a three-point shot with his eyes closed outside of the court. Just phenomenal. He should be arguably top 5 by the time his career is done. I don't have him in top 5 yet, but he will be. Probably after this year. We'll see what happens and how this finishes out. But that guy is something different. Greatest shooter of all time, not even close. I seen him throw 3 threes that I literally said that was a stupid shot. All 3 of them went in. I am not okay with them not reviewing that call. Refs, we have to be able to empower our refs, right? Because their word has to mean something. Because if we just reviewed everything, the ref's word means nothing, right? If we reviewed every single thing, the ref's word means less and less. So how do we fix that, right? We have to start incentivizing good calls and bad calls on a little bit more of a public scale. Now, there may be contracts, there may be stuff like that I'm unaware about, but we have to start publicly incentivizing and decentivizing bad calls, good calls. And I'm not just talking about like, hey, you missed a reach in, or hey, I'm talking about game-changing calls that are obvious, right? Whether it's fines, whether it's bonuses, whether it's whatever it is, and if that means we have to adjust their salary higher or lower, right? I don't think that the refs yesterday for that Golden State Warriors game should have a job. And I don't think they will. I don't know. But that was one of the worst officiating games I've seen in a long time. And it's like this continuously, guys. We're continuously having bad ref games. I don't want a game to be, whether I win a bet or lose a bet, whether my team wins or doesn't win, I do not want a game to be refereed or refed or called or won, lost because of a good call, bad call. I don't care what side I'm on. I want it to be the better team that won. I want it to be fair. I knew I wasn't going to talk about football, but I do want to talk about a play, and it was the Vikings, where the ref... Now, this was not necessarily the same thing, not really his fault, but it did happen. The refs stopped a pick, in my opinion, with the Vikings last Sunday. Those are the kind of things that shouldn't be happening, right? Now, I understand you also can't take away that play from the offense because that's just part of the field. And I do believe he tried to move out of the way, but we have to do everything. I mean, like, we penalize, incentivize players for performance. Why are we not doing it on the same scale for refs? Because these games are coming down to some of their calls. It just is happening. And it's not necessarily fair. It's not necessarily unfair for people to want fairness, right? I just want the NBA, NFL, sports I don't watch, right? I want it to be fair. I want to know who the better team is. And football, basketball, any given day, any given Sunday, any given anything, right? All of that is true and factual. Unfortunately, that's not the world we live in. And it continues to be a problem, right? There is no, oh shit, I'm going to lose my job because of a bad call right now, right? And I'm not saying that the refs shouldn't have job security, and bad calls happen all the time, right? Bad call. I mean, you got to see something in the click of a blink. And I'm not saying that refereeing is hard. They get paid a lot of money to make a phone call, but to be in the action and see it, right? They get a lot of that. They get a lot of that, and that's the problem I have. We need people who are hungry. We need people who understand the game. We need unbiasedism. We need people who are going to stand by their call. We also need people who are going to say, hey, I screwed up. I made a bad call. Because bad calls do happen, guys. I'm not saying no one's perfect. I'm not even saying it's close. But bad calls happen. But there's becoming too many bad calls. And yesterday was kind of a... I'll be completely honest. I think the refs wanted Golden State to lose. And it was a home game. And you can even hear the refs the announcers make a comment about it, and that's what bothers me, right? Because in the moment I was thinking, hey, am I biased because I have a bet on the game? So I went back and I watched some of those replays. And I encourage you to do the same thing. Some of the technicals on Steve Kerr, some of the technical on Draymond Green. I encourage you to go watch those. And tell me what stemmed from some of that. That's what I would like. I want you guys to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. I just want it to be fair. I want sports to be great because I think sports could save more than we think it could. I think sports brings people together. I think there's a competition level to it. I think there's trash talking. I think it builds character. But we've got to have the right calls. Because otherwise, what are we doing? We're literally betting on what refs do they want to win. Or what team are we going to win because our team get a good call or a bad call. And bad calls are always going to be more scrutinized than good calls. But that's part of the job. You are always going to be criticized more when you're doing a bad job than when you're doing a fantastic job. It's unfortunate. It's the way the world lives. It's the way the world lives. The Lakers call, the Lakers game, that was the night game, the 9:40 game for my time, fantastically called game. From what I saw. Now, there might have been some missed tic-tacky calls, there might have been some missed stuff like that, but I'm talking about game-changing calls. They made the right calls. Or at least made the right call to the best of their ability. Right? That's the difference. That's what I'm looking for. So I guess my question is, in 2022, can we get some better refs? Leave a like, comment, tell me what you guys think. We'll talk to you all soon. Thanks, guys.